Is Pacquiao that competitive in that division to compete against the likes of Crawford or Spence? I mean, I'm not discrediting Thurman. It was a competitive fight, but he was able to get past Thurman, and people were excited. Listen, this guy's 41 years old. Look how he's performing. But is Crawford too much? Like, would Crawford be the guy to finish him off, so to speak, retire him? Like, I don't even want to talk about. I was going to mention my man B Hop and Joe Smith, but I changed my mind.
I don't know why we always got to talk about retiring fighters. Some fighters just leave on their own accord. You know, you got Lennox Lewis. No one retired him. No one retired Mayweather. No one retired Joe Calzaghe. You know, so fighters can just leave. And if he leaves now without even fighting these guys, wonderful, wonderful legacy. I think a couple of blemishes was Timothy Bradley and Jeff Horn. He really actually won those fights. You know, so he's somebody that could actually walk away unscathed, you know. But
We had
retire him, yes. We're talking about Terence Crawford. I mean, Terence Crawford is, in my opinion, the best fighter in the world right now. You know, so, I hate to discredit Pacquiao, but we're talking about the best right now. And even Pacquiao in his prime would probably have problems with Terence Crawford.
I don't know if I totally agree with that. Look, Bud was on with us, Terence Crawford, that is, earlier this week, and he's really had to say about that fight happening.
We've been in contact with Bob and Manny them. They want the fight. We want the fight. So
Wow.
basically, we're trying to figure out, the money situation. With this pandemic going on right now, it's kind of hard to put on a big fight and no audience and not knowing how you're gonna get your return back.
Look, in terms of no audience, I think that this fight might be big enough because of Pacquiao's name to still be a big fight because people are at home. We haven't got a lot of sports. We haven't had a lot of sports, live sports, that is. So this fight might be big, and it might still do great numbers, whether they do it on ESPN Plus, ESPN pay-per-view, be as it may. I mean, if there's no gate, they'll lose money, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they won't make the fight because there isn't an audience.
Yeah, but see, the thing is that you just said you think. That's just an educated guess. And it's hard to pay fighters based on a projection. Now, at least when you have a gate, tickets go on sale months prior, maybe 2 months prior sometimes, so you get to actually see what this fight is worth somewhat, So when
Yeah,
you got $1 million in ticket sales already, a month in, a month away from the fight, then you could kind of gauge it a little bit better. Okay, this is what this fight is worth. This is what we can afford for each fighter, But now when you have no gate at all and you're just banking on possibly pay-per-view or the sponsorships, that's tough, man. I don't know if Pacquiao would stoop down that low and say, okay, I just want to, I'll take a lower purse.
yeah, that sounds good, Barack. But the reality is that we don't know when fighters are going to be able to fight in an arena with spectators. We don't know. Most likely, it's not going to happen in 2020. So right now, when guys' bank accounts still look a little chunky from their last fight, right, and they're not feeling it, it's all coochie crunch to say, I'll wait. I'll wait till boxing gets back to normal. Trust me that narrative is going to change once the bank account gets a little light. And yeah, I know Terrence has made millions. I know Pacquiao has made millions. But being inactive, right? Gaining weight, not being active in the ring, not in sparring. I'm talking about fights. That does something to a fighter. So I doubt that Manny Pacquiao and Terence Crawford are going to be okay with fighting sometime in May in 2021 and being outside of the ring for that long. I don't see it. Those guys, not only those guys, big names are going to have to fight in an arena, in some sort of facility with no spectators. Mark my words, it's going to happen.
I basically didn't hear a word you just said after you said it's all coochie crunch. What the hell are you talking about? Where did you get that term from? Ban that term from your vocabulary, please.
You
And
mean to
never
tell me
say
you've
it
never
again.
heard the term coochie crunch?
Coochie
Everything
crunch?
is coochie crunch. Yeah, that's like
Bro,
it's all
no.
it's all fine and dandy. It's
Where I'm
all
from,
good. It's all
coochie
coochie
should
crunch.
not be crunching. That's where I'm from. You know, you're crazy, bro.
No,
I know
that
our
is
production team is laughing right now because you're
No.
crazy for saying that term, coochie crunch.
That's a term. People know about it. Look it up. I'll guarantee if you Google it right now, it's going to be in an urban dictionary.
I'm not even Googling that word. I told you put that word in a box and mail that box somewhere, bro. I don't want to talk about that no more. Coochie
Anyway,
crunch.
to what I
can't
said
believe it.
after that, look, it's just gonna be the reality of boxing for a very long time, unless there's a vaccine that everybody's going to be given, or there's 5-minute testing for 20,000 people going into an arena. Come on, it's not realistic.
I'm gonna tell you like this. Maybe Pacquiao is backed into a corner because he's 41 years old, going on 42. You either have enough money to retire and live happily ever after now, or maybe you would appreciate another paycheck, maybe another $10 million paycheck, so that you can sail off, into the sunset a little bit easier.
Look, I think Pacquiao has been in the game long enough and mature enough. Now, this pandemic that has, affected the entire world, especially the sports world, they don't know what's ahead. I think you have to be mature and you have to be open-minded, right? Especially if you're a fighter. I mean, a lot of these other athletes from other leagues, like, a lot of their money is guaranteed. Boxing is different. These are not, they're not NFL players, NBA players, MLB players. It's not going to be this. They don't have the same type of security. Even though Manny has made a lot of money, I just think that it's sketchy, and I think that they can come to some sort of agreement and percentage regarding the pay-per-view numbers where they both will be willing to make the fight.
Possibly. Let's think of it this way. How much is a gate worth when it comes to a fight of that magnitude? And when you think about certain gates bring in maybe $5 million. Mayweather gates might bring in $20 million when he fought Pacquiao. But so when you think about it, if you get a percentage of that, maybe a fighter is losing anywhere between the upper six figures to $1 million. Is that enough to say, I don't want to fight, I'll wait until we can have the gate? Or maybe there's some fighters, because even Anthony Joshua said something like, he wouldn't mind fighting he doesn't want to, but he wouldn't mind fighting without a crowd, and he gets paid, sometimes more than every boxer on the planet.
Right.
So it really depends on a boxer. He has to really weigh his option and do the numbers.
Yeah, it's just, when other fighters start to be okay with it, that are in your division, it's going to start putting your back on the wall, against the wall, and you're going to start thinking like, man, this guy's going to beat this guy. I'm going to be sitting back this whole time. Let me jump in there and get in and play some double dutch, because if not, big fights are going to pass you if you're waiting on an audience.